Welcome to the Note to Self podcast. I'm your host, Zoe. I'm a certified professional life coach, serial entrepreneur, verified YouTuber, and published author. On this podcast, you can expect actionable tips, reflections, and inspiration to live your best, most fulfilling life. So, let's get started. Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a beautiful day today. Welcome back to Note to Self. Today's note to self is, have you accepted your manifestation yet? This is going to be a very inspiring episode about turning dreams into reality, creating the life of that of which you desire, creating the vision that you have for yourself and whatever that means to you. So I've recently been diving into some great wealth creation content. That's something that I've been very interested in for quite a while now. And a book that I revisited was The Feeling is the Secret by Neville Goddard. This is a download on Audible, and I believe it's about an hour or less. Those of you who don't know Neville Goddard, he's sort of an old school manifestation teacher. He is so very full of wisdom, and his work is so potent, as in when you listen to it, it just starts to really resonate in your being in ways. And his work is something that I always revisit, I always come back to, because it really reminds me that all the power is within, that we are all, yes, infinite spiritual beings having a temporary human experience, and we are all incredibly powerful. And his work really represents me to that magic. It's also very much in alignment with quantum manifesting. As you guys know, it's something I'm very, very passionate about, because I find that really when people really make the connection of how reality works at a subatomic level, they can begin to really shift their self-perception as seeing themselves as the powerful creator of their lives versus disempowered by any means or victim to circumstance to anything happening in life. So yeah, you guys love quantum. Lo and I have the Quantum Creators course. I think a lot of you have probably been in that program or will be in the future, because we're gonna keep talking quantum. But in today's episode, I specifically want to share a quote with you, which is very powerful. It's something that I always come back to. And it was in The Feeling is the Secret. It is, the acceptance of the end automatically wills the means of realization. Or another way of terming that, or that I've heard as well, is the acceptance of the end automatically wills the means to that end. The acceptance of the end wills the means to that end. So what does that even mean? Let's dive in. Acceptance of the end wills the means to that end. So the acceptance of the end, right, could be the decision that you're making for yourself and or the intention that you're setting for yourself. Each time that we set an intention or make a decision that we are like fully ready to step into that next level self, we send a vibration out into the universe, a powerful vibration, right? Because this is a desire that we're ready and willing to be made manifest. And our desires are all divine. Those things deep inside of you, those dreams that you have, you wouldn't have them if it wasn't Source working through you. Okay, that's also one thing I really want to hit home, is that it's okay to desire things. It's okay to want things. And you are such a beautiful human being. Abundance is your birthright. Really let that sink in. Your desires are divine. Your desires are God, source, universe, wanting to create magic through you, wanting you to really enjoy the experience of life and take part in the experience of life. So let's circle back to the quote. The acceptance of the end wills the means to that end. Once you make that decision, set that intention, there's a vibration that goes out into the universe that then starts to cause the bridge of incidence. The bridge of incidence is all those things that might sort of show up in the timeline that are actually bringing you one step further to that of which you are creating, right? And every single thing that pops into your reality, confronts your reality, triggers you, occurs, an opportunity, all of that stuff is a part of your bridge of incidence, whether it's related to your intention or not. So I'm going to give you guys I'm going to give you a personal example, and that is writing and publishing books. It's something I've done multiple times. And this is a great example to use here. So in setting the intention, I'm going to write a book, right? I actually remember, I'll give you the example of my first book. I was still in the corporate world in Toronto. I had bought my one-way ticket and I had just quit my job, my corporate marketing job, the last time I was ever in the corporate world. And my boss said, like, so what are you going to do? You're just going to take off to Italy and then what? And something came through, my intuition, if you will, source, just blurted out. It really felt like word vomit. It was something I didn't think about before I spoke. And I'm normally quite conscious about what I'm speaking. And I just said, I'm going to write a book. And then I left the office. And that idea stuck with me. It was just like a known thing that, yes, of course, I'm going to write a book one day. I don't know how it's going to happen, but that's something that I'm going to do once I get to Italy. Sure enough, a few weeks later, I found myself in Rome, Italy, and I was having such an amazing time just settling into this new life. I was really present to my dreams being made manifest. Again, another bridge of incidents had unfolded and came to be so beautifully. And when I first moved to Italy, I was an au pair. So I au paired, I made 80 euros a week. And you guys, at this time I was 24, 25. Like I was totally totally taking a leap of faith there. I was making more in the corporate world, let's say. And I just took a real chance on myself. And deciding to write a book was one of the most healing experiences of my life. But, anyways, back to the day to day, I was an au pair. And on the weekends, I wanted to give the family their space at home. So I would go to different coffee shops and just explore Rome. And writing was something I just implemented as just starting a habit. It was just something I was going to do. I'm like, you know what? I've got this free time on the weekends. One of the favorite pastimes that I've been enjoying in Rome is sitting in different cafes, is seeking out different cafes. And I would just get a coffee and start writing, get a juice and start writing. And a habit was being formed. But as you can see, like that was part of my bridge of incidents was that, okay, I said this, I decided I'm going to write a book. I arrived in Rome and all of a sudden I had this pocket of free time and I was looking at what actually aligns with this free time, and it was writing in cafes. And so I just started to do that and it felt so effortless and so easy. And then before I knew it, a few months later, I had a book. And while I was writing, one of my YouTube videos, right, something YouTube was not created, YouTube, sorry, was not, let's say, in a direct pathway of writing, as in this video making platform and me creating video content is much different than the medium of me writing, right? It's a completely different form of self-expression. But one of my YouTube videos went viral and a publishing company just rolled into my inbox and asked me if I wanted to write a book on minimalism and that would be published as a physical book in a store because this video went viral. And another little tidbit about that video, it was like 10 things I stopped buying, something like that. That video didn't go viral instantly. It went viral a couple of months later because the minimalist documentary came out on Netflix and all of a sudden people were starting to Google minimalism. It wasn't something that was so popular and then all of a sudden, boom, it just really started to take off. So that was pretty wild, right? Again, the bridge of incidents is always supporting us. I got myself out of the how, I started taking aligned action, and then miracles and magic started to happen right then and there, say through my email inbox. And so a couple months later, I had a book and I also had a publishing deal. And this publishing company, I said, this is in perfect alignment with me. I've actually just, I'm almost at the end of completing my first book, right? I decided that I was an author before I was one. And then all of a sudden the universe made me a real author. And the publishing company actually asked if I wanted to publish my first book with them, but I decided to move forward with Kindle because it was something I always wanted to do. And I wanted to be able to know how to do it for my future and know how to do it for freelance clients that I was working with at that time. I knew that a couple of them were interested in writing and publishing books. So I wanted to know the entire Amazon Kindle world and process. So again, took a chance on myself, followed my intuition, allowed these things to unfold in the path, right? Bring it back to the quote, acceptance of the end automatically wills the means of realization. Acceptance of the end automatically wills the means to that end. I decided that I would have a book. And then everything that needed to happen in order for me to not just have one book, but all of a sudden have multiple books happened. The universe is always trying to flow so much more to us than we're actually willing to receive or accept. And it's our journey of really just aligning with that, aligning with the end, and then being naturally able to receive everything the universe wants to flow to us that's in alignment with that. So yeah, that's, like I said, that is such a beautiful example of mine. I ended up publishing or signing a book deal for 3 books with that publishing company. I ended up only writing 2, and my contract's up soon. But I've got a book that that's within me that I am already starting to write, and it just feels so incredibly good. And with that, I want to invite you guys to join a free 3-day training program that I'm doing from May 5th to 7th. It'll be hosted inside a Facebook group. It's going to be like a live training program that you'll have a few days to watch the replays of. And it's called From Story to Authorship to Royalties. I really want to inspire you that each and every single one of you has a story within you. You have multiple stories within you. And I really want to inspire you and help you, one, bring clarity to the stories that you have inside of you, right? Because there's more than one. There's probably most definitely more than 5 that we're going to bring to the surface through this 3-day training. And then we're going to be talking, right, about authorship and what it means to just really claim that identity and move into it. And then we're going to talk about royalties, because why wouldn't we want to keep creating or just start inviting the realm of possibilities that is passive income and more strategies for developing that? If you started writing a book today, for years and years and years, you're going to be receiving royalties for that, right? I really want to inspire you guys. Like the last royalties check I got for my books that I wrote, I don't know, what was that, 5 years ago now? I made $2,500 off of 2 books that I wrote 5 years ago. And that's something that I receive 4 times a year. So I really just want to expand and open up your realm of possibilities through this. And this is for anyone listening to this podcast, whether or not you view yourself as a writer, an author, anything, it's within you. It's just a matter of activating it. So let's get inspired about our realm of possibilities together. And the link for opting into this free 3-day training is going to be down below. And I'm just real excited to dive into you guys with this. So sending you all the love. And remember, acceptance of the end wills to means to that end. What are you going to accept today in order to bring that manifestation that much closer? Thank you for listening to Note to Self. If you enjoyed this episode, please help me out by rating and reviewing this show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If my energy is resonating with you and you feel the call to work with me, there are an abundance of ways to do so. I offer one-to-one life coaching programs, mastermind containers, and DIY courses, all of which are available through my website, zoearielpoulsen.com. Until next time, take note of all the abundance that surrounds you as you make the most of this game called life.